Yeah.
I really thought you pushed it over the top with the last one.
Okay. All right.
All right. So the last one was taking risk off the table. So taking risk off the table, again, remember the sources of indecision. We've already talked about, I don't know what to choose. That's all about offering your recommendation. We've already talked about, I haven't done enough homework. That's limiting the exploration is our counterpunch to that. What's our counterpunch when the customer's worried about not getting what they're paying for? That they're thinking, I don't know, Victor, like, yeah, the proof of concept, the demo, everything's great. Everyone's on board. Like everyone loves you guys. You clearly beat the pants off your competitors. Like we're in. But if this goes sideways, it's on me. And this is a big decision for our company. Well, what we've got to do there is we've got to de-risk the purchase. We got to take some risk off the table. And we can do that in a whole number of ways. I think the simple one most people go to is like offering a refund or an opt-out or whatever. Now, in some simple product environments, that might be possible. But in most organizations, if we're selling a complex solution, we don't offer that to our customers. So what else could we do? Well, I would think about this from a spectrum of really formal ways to de-risk the purchase to very informal, but still kind of accomplish the same thing types of techniques. So on the formal side, I'll give you an example. This is not in the book. I learned about this just the other day. A company that makes robotics for manufacturers that I was talking to about this research. He'd read an early copy just like you. And we're talking about this and he said, I've got a great way to take risk off the table. He said, a lot of times when we come in and our value prop is we help manual factories automate their operations. But what that means is teaching their people how to go from like swinging a hammer to actually dealing with a piece of robotics equipment, which is a very different job. So there's a lot of change management. There's a lot of training that goes into that. And for large organizations, these are really expensive robots and machines we put on the factory floor. And if somebody's not paying attention to training or they do something, you put the part in the machine the wrong way, it'll like total like $500,000 piece of equipment like that. He said, what we figured out a couple of years ago, and we partnered with an insurance company, we offer an insurance package now that guards against that happening for like $1,000. They can replace the entire piece of equipment. Now he said the interesting thing is the training is so good, it almost never happens. But there are a couple of customers, and we have them as case studies where something has gone wrong and they were out $1,000, not like $300,000. And it was a total lifesaver because it was like, he told the story of this customer. It was the holidays. It was really busy and the assembly lines moving fast. And one of their workers just happened to like hit the wrong switch or do something. It totaled the machine, like in a heartbeat, brought the whole, but they were really swaying for a small business being out $300,000 for a really expensive piece of equipment versus $1,000 deductible. Huge difference. Now he said they now package that with every single sale and nobody bats an eye. He said, we don't deal with that outcome uncertainty the way we used to because people don't sweat that anymore. It's like, okay, for a couple of percentage points on the basis points on the deal, I can add this insurance policy. It's a no-brainer. And he said, by the way, the insurer loves us too because it's huge margin. Nobody ever files a claim because the training's really good. So that's a formal example. Now, informally, there's lots of stuff we can do. I'll tell you another story. So big North American software company that we worked with on this research, they participated. Their head of sales said, now their CEO is a very well-known executive. So they shall remain nameless, but he said, for those big deals, there's like bet the company kind of deals where the customers, I know they're sweating it, right? Even at the CEO level, like if this goes sideways, it is going to be bad. And so he said one of the biggest confidence givers they can give to show their customer, you're not jumping out of this airplane without a chute is when they say, our CEO takes on 10 customers every year where he personally sits in on every QBR. He's at the table. He will share with you his mobile phone number and you could text him on the weekends. And if there's a problem, he swarms a problem. These are ones that he goes to the street and he talks about with our analysts and our investors, right? A signature customer, right? That you can't take that to the bank and cash it for any amount of money. But
what's a QBR? I got to ask.
Oh yeah. Like a quarterly business review. So, but he's sitting in on those those meetings quarterly. He's on the working group. He's plugged in. He can't do it. We have thousands of customers. He only does it for 10 every year. He said, I've used that card to get some of our biggest deals over the fence where I knew they were struggling with the risk is say, we want to include you in this group. And he said, that was a huge difference maker. And he said, he's also used a little bit of urgency, like, hey, we've already got 9 customers. We're going to do our Q4 earnings release. And our CEO is going to talk about the 10 customers he's working with. These are big logos. Like this is great marketing for us. It's great marketing for you. But if you miss it, like the next chance to be in his group of 10 is like next year. Right. So you don't have to take us up on it, but we thought it would be a nice value add for you. And he said, every single customer said, oh, like I can get them on speed dial. Like we're in. So,
Oh, I love it. By the way, limited risk. I think you and McKenna should consider just doing a webinar on de-risking. Like, just start really kind of curating all the different strategies out there, because I found that, again, it's stuff you don't typically read about.
yeah.
And you applied some flavors, but these two examples about the $1,000 deductible, the QBR, only 10 clients, creates that little scarcity bit right there.
Yeah.
I would love that. You guys should do a webinar down in the future just on de-risking.
Yeah, though I agree. It's funny because of all those, I think it's the de-risking, the taking risk off the table. When I talk to salespeople about it, they mean, oh, here's what we do, or here's what we can do. Never thought of it this way. Now, here's the other thing I would say, Victor, there's a role for the company here too. What you don't want to have happen is your salespeople are constantly going back and asking for permission to use some of these different techniques. What we should be focusing on in sales leadership is actually creating a tool set of de-risking options, and then, packaging them, productizing them in case of that insurance policy.
I agree.
Training our people on them, coaching them to use it. So they're not constantly going to finance or product or their manager to ask for permission to do this stuff, but they know these are tools you can go to. They're already approved, and you can go and leverage them to get the customer on the fence. Now, if I put those four together, I think what we like about Jolt is, like, you can remember the acronym, but much like spin selling, but also it speaks to what's happening here. We're jolting the customer out of their stuck, indecisive state and getting them to take action. What we're ultimately trying to do here is bridge the gap between intent to action, between I want this to I bought this, right? And that is a big journey. And we know a lot of deals end up in the graveyard between I want it and I bought it.
Putting this all together,